So I'm here today because I heard that you had some questions or concerns about vaccinations, or even possibly was thinking about not vaccinating your child. So I took it upon myself as a nurse, as a member of this community, to do some research and provide some education on vaccinations. Um, I did jot down some notes. All this information can be found from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention website, and I will give that to you after this. Um, so first off, what is a vaccine? A vaccine, especially for childhood, is essential because it helps provide immunity before children are exposed to a potentially life-threatening disease. Vaccines are tested and they're ensured that they're safe for your small children, even safe for pregnant women. So vaccines, they help build your immune system by introducing just a small piece of the genetic material, also called an antigen, into your child's immune system. It's not enough to make them sick. Oftentimes it's deactivated or dead, or it's just a segment of the gene and not the entire virus itself. So it cannot give you whatever it is that it's fighting against. But what it does is it helps your body be able to build and create an antibody so that it will fight specific infections and diseases immediately if it's ever reintroduced to that child, instead of taking days to weeks for the body to initially start making the antibody because it's already been made. Today, now we're able to fight up against 14 different deadly and serious diseases by the age of 2, as long as you maintain the schedule for vaccinations for your child. Many of the shots can be combined into groups of 2, 3, 4, 5 vaccines, which a lot of people are concerned about giving that much to a child, but it's perfectly safe. And it decreases the amount of shots that that child is having to have, decreases the amount of doctor's visits that you have to take your child into. And again, that schedule for your child can be found at the CDC website on which vaccines are given at what times and what ages. Vaccines, what they do is they help protect against many different types of diseases, everything from hepatitis to measles, mumps, rubella, tetanus, and polio, and many others. Like I said, 14 different diseases. Oh, why do we still have to get the polio disease, the polio vaccination, even though it is eradicated in the United States? Because it's not eradicated in the world. So even though we don't have it here in the United States for almost 30 years now, the rest of the world still does have it. So if you or your child were to travel to a place that had this polio, you could contract it if you didn't have the immunization. Or if somebody was just traveling into the United States, you weren't traveling abroad at all, and they had it, it can be passed through coughing, sneezing, it can be passed through the stool, and this virus can live for weeks at a time. A lot of people, since it's been eradicated for so long, a lot of people don't remember or know anybody that was affected by polio. And so they don't know the muscle weakness or paralysis that a lot of them have, especially as children. People who had to live in what was called the iron lung, because it was their respiratory muscles that were paralyzed. And so they had to essentially live in this tank for this thing to breathe, like a diaphragm to breathe for them, because they couldn't breathe themselves. Nowadays we have things like ventilators that would be a little more portable, but I couldn't imagine my children having to live through that simply because I didn't want to vaccinate the polio vaccine. Vaccines are very safe. Even for your small children and babies, you can administer them to pregnant women, get them often. In the United States, it's the safest vaccine in history. The prevention of these diseases is crucial, and most of them only have a mild side effect, such as redness at the site, a little bit of soreness or tenderness at the site, sometimes a low-grade fever. Small babies might be kind of fussy for a day or two, but that often goes away very quickly. The the alternative of seeing your child having to go through these diseases, in my opinion, is not even an option. It wouldn't even be considered. The disease prevention benefits that you get through these vaccines is so much greater than the possible side effects that your children are going to see. The only exception of children that should not be getting these vaccines and immunizations are those that have a chronic medical condition, something such as cancer, something that weakens, a disease that weakens the immune system that they have, or if they've had a previous severe allergic reaction to something in that vaccine dose, they should not be getting the vaccines. But what we can do to help these children is what's called herd immunity. So everybody, imagine our community as a herd, and everybody else in it who is available to get that vaccine gets the vaccine. And what that does is it decreases the chance for that child to come in contact with that disease, and decreases the chance of them contracting the disease themselves. So that's why it's also really important for all of us, healthy adults, children, everyone in school, to be getting these vaccines, is to help those who cannot receive the vaccines. There is a myth going around, it's very popular in social media, is that vaccines cause autism. And they've done hundreds and thousands of research and scientific studies, everything that they can think of, and there is absolutely no proof or relationship between vaccines, especially the MMR vaccine, and causing autism. So, that's not true if that's something that you're concerned about. The other thing is the annual flu vaccine. It is different each year. We've been administering it for about 50 years now. Because it changes, they do want you to get it every year, and some of the side effects from that is a low-grade fever, muscle aches, soreness, headaches, and nausea. Many people think that because of these symptoms they are getting the flu, and that's not the case. It's just an administration reaction. Like I said earlier, it's normally a deactivated or a killed virus, or just a small segment of the virus. So you can't get the flu from the vaccine. Insurances cover most of vaccines, especially for children. You can get them at doctor's offices, pharmacies, and public health departments. Often for state or federal funding if you don't have insurance. Okay. Thank you for your time. Please look up Center for Disease Control and Prevention, www.cdc.gov/vaccines for any further questions. You can do your own research. Thanks.